I recently read Good to Great by author Jim Collins. Collins and his team spent a combined total of 10.5 years researching 11 publicly traded companies that went from good to great. Each of the companies went from performing at or below the market average to at least 3 times above the market average over a 15-year period. To prove that these 11 companies were doing something special, Collins and his team compared each of the companies to companies in the same industry of a similar size who had similar access to resources, but failed to outperform the market. When contrasting the good to great companies with these comparison companies, Collins and his team discovered that the good to great companies had mastered 3 concepts. You can think of these 3 concepts like 3 mental models that you can use to evaluate a company you invest in, a company you work for, or use to transition your own business from good to great. The 3 concepts are the hedgehog, the bus, and the level 5 leader. The first way to assess if a company can go from good to great is to determine if that company has a hedgehog mentality. An ancient Greek parable says the fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing. When a hedgehog waddles down a familiar path to retrieve its lunch, a fox tries to attack it in different ways and at different points along its route. But every time the clever fox thinks it's about to catch the hedgehog off guard, the hedgehog notices the fox, rolls into a ball, and becomes a sphere of sharp spikes. The fox insists on a new strategy every day, while the hedgehog relies on one tried and true strategy, and the hedgehog always wins. Good to great companies have a hedgehog mentality. They look to distill their business into a simple strategy, a core concept, a unifying vision. The good to great companies develop a hedgehog mentality by focusing on 3 circles. The first circle represents what they can be the best at, and more importantly, what they can't be the best at. In the book, Collins explains that Wells Fargo, a bank that outperformed the market by a multiple of 4 from 1983 to 1998, accepted the truth that they couldn't be better than their rival, Citicorp, in global banking. So Wells Fargo turned its attention to what it could be the best at, running a bank like a business with a focus on the Western United States. By obsessively focusing on that single strategy, Wells Fargo transformed from a mediocre Citicorp wannabe to one of the best performing banks in the world. The second circle represents a company's economic engine. More specifically, how that company can generate more profit per X than any other company in the industry. X can be customers of a certain demographic, like new mothers living in Manhattan, or number of employees, or number of stores. Wells Fargo discovered that they could restructure their bank to have more ATMs and fewer employees per branch so that they could generate more profit per employee than any other bank in the 80s. And the last circle is passion. All the good to great companies asked, are we in this just for the money, or are we passionate about our business? While comparison companies merely developed products and services that they thought would make money, good to great companies only invested in products and services they loved. A big difference between Philip Morris, a good to great company from 1964 to 1979, and other tobacco companies was executives at Philip Morris genuinely believed life was better with cigarettes despite the long-term health risks. A Philip Morris vice chairman once said, "I love cigarettes. It's one of those things that makes life really worth living." Every good to great transition occurred because the good to great companies spent years discovering what they could be the best at and what they couldn't, then developed their primary economic engine, and only invested in products they were truly passionate about. At the intersection of these 3 circles is what Collins calls a hedgehog concept. Every good to great company simplified its business around their hedgehog concept and had the discipline not to get distracted by business opportunities that didn't align with their hedgehog concept.